One of the biggest debates this offseason for the San Antonio Spurs has been between De'Aaron Fox versus Dylan Harper. A lot of people think that De'Aaron Fox should be traded, and if he's not traded, they think he should come off the bench and Dylan Harper should start. I've talked about how De'Aaron Fox is not going to be traded, but now I don't think that De'Aaron Fox is even going to be benched or that Dylan's going to start. I don't think any of those things are going to happen, and on Friday, we got some clarity to this situation thanks to Jared Weiss at The Athletic. Weiss released an article this morning, and the original article said, quote, Harper has expressed a willingness to be patient and accept a six-man role next season as he continues to get a feel for how to run an offense full-time, according to sources familiar with his thinking who spoke on the condition of the anonymity to describe team dynamics. But just a few minutes after he posted that, it was then changed to the fact that Victor Wembanyama passed up the chance to receive a Supermax contract in part to make it easier for the Spurs to pay Harper when his rookie contract expires in a few years, certainly helps set the standard that sacrifice is expected across the roster. It's part of why people familiar with Harper's thinking, who spoke on the condition of the anonymity to describe team dynamics, acknowledge that he can take on a sixth-man role next season. Now, Jared Weiss did say that the second quote was originally what he wrote, and it was changed to that first quote saying an obvious claim that Dylan Harper is willing to accept a six-man role, and that the first quote was originally what he wrote and has since been changed back to that. But both of these quotes make it sound like that Dylan Harper is okay with being a six-man. The first one definitely does, but the second one, Wemby's $51 million pay cut on his recent extension sets the tone for the entire roster. It set the standard that sacrifices have to be made. So it sounds like that Dylan is okay with coming off the bench. And if he is, it's the most obvious favorite to win six-man of the year ever. I mean, if you bet $1, you're probably going to get $1.05 back when he wins. Not if, but when. But why can't Dylan start? Why can't he start right now? Because the Spurs can't just pick between De'Aaron Fox and Dylan Harper. They can't. And if Dylan is going to start, they have to start together. A lot of that reason comes down to basketball politics, but there is some basketball tactic behind this decision as well. I've always said that it's possible for the Spurs to start De'Aaron Fox, Dylan Harper, and Stephon Castle together next season, moving Castle to the 3, putting Dylan at the 2, and Fox at the 1. But if that were the case, then the Spurs would have absolutely no guard depth off the bench outside of Jordan McLaughlin and recently drafted Jacoby Gillespie. But the bench was a big reason why the Spurs are not the 2026 NBA champions, because they were all unplayable. Dylan Harper was the only guy who could come off the bench and give him reliable minutes for the Spurs. Keldon Johnson disappeared. Carter Bryant was literally figuring out the flow of the game in the NBA Finals, and Luke Cornett was just unplayable as well. Championship contenders have an 11 to 12-man rotation, and the Spurs did not have that in the Finals, but they are poised to have it next season. Taking Dylan Harper and putting him in the starting lineup just nukes the Spurs bench depth, and I don't think that's ideal for the Spurs considering the position that they're in right now. Now let's talk about NBA politics, and one specifically De'Aaron Fox, who is about to enter the first year of his $229 million contract extension. There's been a lot of talk about it recently considering how he played in the finals, but simply put it this way, the Spurs are not benching their highest paid player. They're not going to. You're not going to put someone who's making $50 million on the bench, a two-time All-Star. You're going to have that in the starting lineup, and that's the simple politics that comes down to it. But with this article that Jared posted on Friday, he did give us some scoop into the Fox situation, saying, quote, there is also an understanding, according to those sources, that Fox is not tradable on his contract at the moment, and rehabbing his value with a good playoff performance next season will be crucial to an inevitable backcourt succession plan. I'm going to keep it simple. The reality is, with his contract and his finals performance, the Spurs can't move De'Aaron Fox even if they wanted to. They can't. He averaged 13 points a game in the NBA Finals on terrible splits, had the Game 4 just buff. I'm still thinking about that. The Spurs couldn't move him. They can't. No one wants to take on a $230 million contract for a dude who's going to be 30 in 2 years, who averaged 13 points a game in the NBA Finals as a lead guard. And it sucks because Fox was having a good postseason before suffering an ankle sprain versus the Minnesota Timberwolves. But then the finals happened. He wasn't getting opportunities to initiate the offense, and Spurs fans know that's when he has his most success. He wasn't attacking the basket because he was playing on a high ankle sprain. A lot of mobility is shot during that injury. So what did he do? He began settling for long jumpers, three-pointers, shots that just weren't falling but were good looks, resulting in the series that he had. Good looks, not falling. And now the extension is kicking in. All of this resulting in De'Aaron Fox's trade value being at an all-time low, and I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. It is at the bottom of the barrel. But to be honest, I believe that De'Aaron Fox is going to have a huge bounce-back season, and the Spurs believe it as well. But at the NBA Summer League in Las Vegas, with a little more time to decompress from the tension of the NBA Finals, multiple team and league sources said that the Spurs still see De'Aaron Fox as a critical part of the team's future. Those sources who spoke on the condition of the anonymity because they were not authorized to discuss personnel matters said that the Spurs' view hasn't changed since general manager Brian Wright publicly went to bat for Fox in late June. The Spurs have downplayed Fox's playoff struggles as a product of playing through an ankle injury and maintained that his real issue was his inability to convert a lot of good looks. After suffering an ankle sprain in the second round against the Minnesota Timberwolves, Fox missed the first two games of the Western Conference Finals against the Oklahoma City Thunder before returning in Game 3 to play through the injury. While he was able to move fairly well despite the pain, his shooting struggled mightily. League sources said what I just said. Straight up. I'm just going to keep it real. That's my opinion, and the league sources basically just backed me up without me having to even try. I'm just saying. But let's be real. The De'Aaron Fox stock is at its lowest, but buy some now. I'm just telling you, buy some now. However, let's look at this from the financial reality of this, because Stephon Castle is going to get his extension next summer. Dylan Harper is going to get his in 2 summers. The Spurs simply cannot pay Wemby, Fox, Castle, and Harper. They can't. That is a second apron between those 4 right there. And if they want to pay those 4, they're not going to have a competent team around them. The depth is going to be me. Brian Wright's going to call me and be like, hey, we need you to come shoot some threes. But guess what? I'm going to get rejected. And I can give you 6 hard fouls, 1 flagrant 2 if I need to, and that's it. That's what the Spurs bench depth would be if they just stuck to paying those 4 guys. So, just be real. They can't keep De'Aaron Fox much longer. He's the odd man out because you're not going to choose Fox over Harper or Castle. As much as I love De'Aaron Fox and will go to war for that guy, the Spurs are not going to choose Fox over Harper and Castle, the future. They're not. So right now, Dylan Harper potentially has a chance to just spend another year as a 6-man because he knows his time is coming soon and he's okay with that. That's probably why he is okay with leaning towards coming off the bench in the season, because he knows his time is on the horizon. He is the franchise point guard of the San Antonio Spurs. But guess what? He's not ready to be a franchise point guard yet. Fox has been a franchise point guard, a 2-time All-Star, and someone who understands the feel of the game of basketball and how to run an offense. Dylan Harper ain't there yet, and that's perfectly okay. He is a second-year player. He does not need to be there yet. I remember after games 1 and 2 of the Western Conference Finals, where the Spurs didn't have Fox, all of Spurs Twitter was in unison, like, hey, we need Fox. Because Castle had 20 turnovers in 2 games. Dylan just didn't have a feel of that series, of that game, of those games. It just wasn't there yet, and that's okay. It is. Dylan Harper's dad, Ron, has openly stated that he is not going to demand a starting spot and that he has to earn it. He also says that Dylan loves the mentorship that Fox brings. He loves playing with him. Those 3 guards love playing with each other. There's not this drama that people think there is. Listen, Dylan Harper is going to be a freaking superstar. He is. He's on pace right now. He's going to be the franchise point guard next to Wemby. His Tony to Wemby's Timmy. Like, that is the future of the NBA. It's going to run through those 2 dudes right there. But Dylan still has plenty of room to grow, especially while he has the chance to learn from a 2-time All-Star point guard. Now, Mitch Johnson needs to put De'Aaron Fox in a position to succeed. I'm not going to get too into that, but if you want to go see what I have to say about that, click up in one of these corners and go watch my video on why the Spurs ain't getting rid of De'Aaron Fox and how he's going to have a bounce-back season. But right now, while the Spurs have this luxury, take advantage of it. This is a good problem to have, and everyone thinks there needs to be some sort of A versus B. No! There doesn't need to be. We have 3 amazing guards. This is awesome. Like, that I don't think that people realize that's such a good problem to have. Now, just because Dylan comes off the bench doesn't mean he's in a limited role. He can come off the bench and have 30 minutes a game. And he can be a closer, which he earned the right to. He can come off the bench next season and still have a much larger role than he did last year. And that's what I fully expect. But lastly, basketball aside, this is simply Spurs culture. This is the modern day version of Manu Ginobili. Manu was an all-star caliber player who could start, but he didn't for the betterment of the team because they had, Tony Parker and they needed more depth. The Spurs need more depth. Dylan Harper is going to be a starter one day. That's just not it right now. So Dylan Harper is going to be an all-star caliber guard off the bench, winning Sixth Man of the Year and potentially reaching all-star games. Like, really, it's not that complicated. Give him the Sixth Man of the Year. Let him continue to develop a pull-up jumper and let him get a better feel for the game of basketball and get him more reps before you hand him the keys to an offense as a franchise point guard. Then looking at that bench, you'd have Harper, Keldon Johnson, Julian Champagnie, Carter Bryant, Luke Cornett, Harrison Barnes, Terrence Reed, some Jaden Quaidance when he gets healthy, and maybe even some Jacoby Gillespie after the summer league that he had. But for right now, Dylan Harper off the bench, it just makes sense for all parties. It does. So what do you guys think? Should Dylan Harper come off the bench? Let me know in the comments below so we can start a conversation. If you enjoyed, make sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure you turn on the post notification bell so you never miss when I upload the newest videos about the San Antonio Spurs. And until next time, this is Ty Talk Sports signing off, and I will see you all next time.